Wow. What a crazy 12 to 24 hours I've had. Abuse hurled left, right, and center. But look, we're not going to really talk about that. I might address it right at the end. But lots to talk about Hakim Ziyech. He's getting thrown around like a rag doll to Everton, Roma, Newcastle, Spurs. It's quite mad out there.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. So much to go through. Lots of Hakim Ziyech news. Obviously, there's some bits and pieces in regards to midfield, which is the biggest interest for us at the moment. Let's get into this right away. First up, this is what's coming up from Sami Mokbel. There's some news that you can probably trust when it comes from Sami, but then there are others where it's a bit of a hit and miss. But let's have a look what he has to say about Hakim Ziyech. Chelsea must make a decision on whether to let Hakim Ziyech leave the club this month. With Everton, really? They're smack bang bottom. Now, I can understand there's Frank Lampard, then he had a very good relationship with Frank Lampard, but I can't see how Ziyech would even contemplate going to Everton, even whether it's on a loan, whether it's as a full-time basis. It does not make sense to go to a club who most likely are going to get relegated. So, yeah, I can't see how Hakim Ziyech would ever even entertain this. I'm pretty sure there are some decent clubs out there that would want him, and one of them being Italian club Roma are also understood to be monitoring Ziyech's situation. Now, apparently Zaniolo is looking to leave Roma for Spurs, so that's potentially going to happen. And Spurs have been chasing Zaniolo for a little while, so you could probably think that there's some truth behind that and probably might happen. And could Roma come around and ask for Ziyech's services as a replacement? Would Jose Mourinho appreciate a player like Ziyech? Perhaps. And I think Ziyech in Serie A would really shine. Now, that aside, and let's just go through the whole news first, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on Ziyech. Tottenham is another team. Tottenham came to Chelsea earlier this month regarding transfers and wanted a player exchange. Once again, Tottenham came to Chelsea and wanted a player exchange. I'm not really sure how much I trust this. This is from C345 Sam, who does a lot of Chelsea lineup leaks on match day. How much he knows about some of the internal news, I'm not really sure. But this seems to be a bit too far-fetched. Tottenham coming to Chelsea and asking for a player exchange. I don't think so. Ziyech and Chalobah in return for Bissouma. Now, obviously, Bissouma is a not exactly the player of interest. Obviously, Caicedo is, but that position of midfield is an interest. I've said it. I would take Bissouma. Before he went to Spurs, Bissouma was a big choice for me, and probably number one choice. I don't think just because he's gone to Spurs, not worked out, that he's not a player anymore. I still think there is a quality player out there. Graham Potter knows everything about this particular player as well, much like Caicedo. So for me, I rate Bissouma, but Ziyech and Chalobah in return for Bissouma, I don't think Chelsea would ever agree on that. Chelsea are open to letting Ziyech leave, but they will not let Chalobah leave this month. Yeah, of course. Why would you want to let Chalobah? Chalobah has been playing really well. It's been one of the standout. Obviously, there's been some iffy performances after the World Cup, but now slowly he's coming back into the range again. Prior to the World Cup, he was one of the standout defenders. Ziyech is open to Tottenham. Okay. Well, another interesting point. Now, he could be. It's a London-based team. He's in London and he doesn't have to shift too much. Antonio Conte is a very good manager as well. And Ziyech probably get game time over there. So he could potentially be a wing-back. Do you know what I mean? He could potentially be a right-sided wing-back who can cut in with his left. But I'm pretty sure Antonio Conte will probably deploy him as one of the forwards up front. Let's have a look if there's any other Ziyech news. No, that's it. Okay, now let's talk about Hakim Ziyech. Now, once again, Hakim Ziyech's name is out there. Let me firstly clarify, because there are some smart-ass comments sometimes on my videos, and that's fine. It's going to happen. You're not going to be able to please everyone and saying, oh, Miz, not that long ago, you were asking for Ziyech to leave as well. Look, let me make something very, very clear. I've always believed in Hakim Ziyech's quality. Has he always played well for Chelsea? No. Has he had great moments? Yes. Has there been a time where it looked like, wow, he could turn out to be something special? Of course. But you know what has happened? He gets injured, or the manager stops using him, manager doesn't believe him. This is why I said, if Chelsea don't see a future with Ziyech, then let's move him on. Because he's 30 years old. He wants to play on a regular basis. If he's not going to get this here, let's not beat around the bush. Let's move the player on. This isn't me being biased. This isn't me being a flip flop or anything like that. I'm just putting some context around why I was saying that get rid of a player like Ziyech is because if no managers are willing to use him the way he needs to be utilized, or have a structure that better fosters his game, then why have him? Why have him? Now you may say, Miz, we can't have a game accommodated to one player. I say to those comments, why not? Maybe not now. Now we've got a lot of quality in terms of João Felix, Mudryk, and many more. But back then, when we were struggling, there wasn't a particular player that was really standing out. Why not have a structure for a particular player to see if you can get the best out of the team? That's what I said about Romelu Lukaku as well. Regardless of his interview, which was wrong, absolutely pathetic, and I don't want to see Romelu Lukaku back at Chelsea Football Club. But last season, we missed the trick on how to utilize him. And I said it, have a game plan to get the best out of Romelu Lukaku. At the end of the day, that's where you want to bank your money to see whether he can put the goals away. But since managers don't want to do that, let's get rid of him. This is why I was saying it. But I always believed in his quality. Recent times, he's now playing well again, and I'm saying maybe we do need to think about whether we should let him go now. Maybe in the summer let him go, but maybe now it's important to see out the rest of the season with a player like Ziyech, who's showing some sort of form again, amongst other players who hasn't had form for a long time. Long time. At least Ziyech, there seems to be some X factor. Every time he gets the ball, he seems to want to ask questions of the opposition. Many of our players don't want to ask any questions. They want to shy away from it. At least he's showing some bravery. Yeah, sometimes it may not work out. Sometimes he may look like a fool. But there are times where chances are being created. Against Crystal Palace, should have had 2 assists. We won 1-0, no problems. He got himself an assist for Havertz. Even Havertz came out and said, should have put away another goal off the back of Ziyech's cross. Against Liverpool, there were a couple of times, brilliant play from Ziyech. There was a pass that he found to Havertz through all that crowd, and then Havertz squared it to Mason Mount. Mason Mount then, passed away the responsibility to Lewis Hall to take the shot. So we need to ask the question, is Ziyech the one that we want to be gone now? I feel like there are other players that needs to go before him. I feel like there is some benefit of having Ziyech. Now, whether Graham Potter can actually sit there and say, well, I'm not really sure where I'm going to really use him on a regular basis. And if that's the case, then get rid of him. I still think there could be a potential lineup where you can have, let's just say, argument's sake, Havertz up front, João Felix just behind, Mudryk on the left, Ziyech on the right. And you can rotate Ziyech with Madueke. You can rotate Mudryk with Sterling. So on and so forth. I still think there could be some benefit. Players like Conor Gallagher, players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You have to start wondering, what do they actually bring to the football club? What are they bringing? Right. So, but let me know, ladies and gentlemen, what is your feeling? Once again, Ziyech's name getting thrown around left, right, and center with many clubs out there, and there are other players that are stinking up the joint for so long. There's nothing about them. Look, for me, it's always been the greater of whatever benefits Chelsea. Ziyech needs to go because we need to open up some space, or because now we've got a lot of other players that have come into the Chelsea Football Club. Yeah, we need to reduce the wage bill, or whatever the case is, then fine. The greater benefit of Chelsea always trumps. But I feel like there are other players, I don't know what they're doing, but you let me know, ladies and gentlemen, how you feel about this particular situation about Ziyech. Would you like to see him gone in January, or if he does need to go, would you wait for summer? Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Moses Caicedo's potential transfer to Chelsea is still active, and I'm still hearing talks have continued between them and Brighton. Chelsea are pushing to get it done, ideally with add-ons to push it to Brighton's valuation. I will be very surprised if we don't get this done now. And I've said it in recent times that the biggest feeling towards this is the fact that we're not that far away. I could understand if we've bid 55 million, for example, and the valuation from Brighton was 90 million. Then I can understand, well, that's a huge gap to bridge. Now the gap is really about 20 million. I'm sure if we go from 55 to, let's say, 60 and then have add-ons for the other 15 million, I'm sure we can, negotiate a particular transfer here. Brighton have got themselves a particular midfielder. There was a here we go from Fabrizio Romano, a brother from Sweden. So they're already looking forward. They're a selling club. Do you know what I mean? And I've linked them, likened them with Borussia Dortmund from Bundesliga. Gets all these really, really top talents and they're making money out of it. Next one will be Mitoma. He's going to make big money from, Brighton's going to make a lot of money out of him. McAllister's there as well. It's many players. They're going to make a lot of money. And their scouting department's good. They'll keep finding gems and they'll keep making money. So look, I'll be very surprised if we don't get Moses Caicedo over the next couple of weeks remaining in the less than a couple of weeks remaining in the transfer window. We need this player in midfield. We need something different. We need something, of this caliber. And I'll be now very surprised if we don't get this done because we're very, very close. So watch this space. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Romeo Lavia will sit near the top of Chelsea's wanted list for a future move, while we reported over the past few weeks that Claudio Kone was recommended by the scouting team and is also liked by director Vivell. Interesting. Obviously, Vivell knows some of these players from, Kone from Bundesliga. Romeo Lavia, I think that's Joe Shields' one, the one that is going to join Chelsea Football Club very soon. Came from Southampton. Previously was in Man City. I think one of the recruiters. Lavia is a good player. More names in the article below. This is from CFC 365 official. I think one of PYS's sort of side accounts. So go subscribe to that. Look, there's going to be a lot of revamp in midfield. I won't be surprised if many midfielders leave and these particular midfielders join, along with Caicedo. There's the name of Enzo Fernandez as well. So summer is going to be just as huge because the revamp ain't going to be complete in January. And many players, Jorginho out of contract, probably needs to move on as well. Ruben Loftus-Cheek needs to move on. We need to think about Conor Gallagher. There's doubts over Mason Mount's contract as well. So things need to change in midfield. Things need to change. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you feel about everything. That we've talked about in this particular video, more specifically around Hakim Ziyech. Leave your thoughts and your comments below, and smash the like button if you've enjoyed it. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Just before I go, obviously in the last 12 to 24 hours, I've been hurled a lot of abuse towards me. Some of you guys might have seen in social media. Some of you guys haven't. Look, I'm all right. I know how to handle myself now. It's mad. I've really, it's opened my eyes to certain people. Many people that I know, in this community have DM'd me and like saying, "Oh, Miz, I'm really disappointed about it." I'm like, wow, you're telling me how to be a fan now. So it's opened my eyes up for many things. And obviously there's a picture of me that's getting circulated around way back from 2009 saying I'm an Arsenal fan. That picture is with all my family members. They're all my cousins. They're all Arsenal fans. They live in London. And this was back in 2009. And they took me to Emirates game to watch an FA Cup game. You'll see that picture. I'm the only one that's not wearing any Arsenal gear. And they're claiming it to be now me being an Arsenal fan. Like this is how much they'll stoop to reduce you just because you had something different to say about a particular player they protect with their dear soul. But yeah, I'll leave you with that thought. Until next time, take care. See ya.